Meet Arthur, a retired schoolteacher living in a cozy suburb just outside of Manchester. His days followed a comforting routine: morning walks through the local park, tending to his beloved rose garden, and catching up with mates over a cup of tea at the corner cafe. To his neighbors, Arthur was the picture of active retirement, always ready with a warm smile, a quick joke, or a hand with the weekly shop. Each evening, Arthur would prepare his clothes for the next day, laying out a pressed shirt and his favorite wool jumper. He took pride in his independence, managing his medications and never missing a doctor's appointment. His daughter, Sarah, visited often, sometimes bringing her children for Sunday lunch or popping in after work for a quick chat. Life felt predictable, safe, and full of small joys. Arthur's diet, however, was a reflection of old habits. He found comfort in familiar foods: sausages, bacon, and thick slices of white bread always toasted to perfection. He rarely considered the health implications. After all, he'd eaten the same way for decades and felt fine. "A little of what you fancy does you good," he'd often say with a wink. But, in the weeks leading up to that fateful Tuesday, Arthur had noticed subtle changes. He felt more tired on his walks, sometimes needing to pause and catch his breath. His leg would ache after standing for too long, but he brushed it off as just getting older. There were moments of doubt, but he pushed them aside, unwilling to disrupt the comfort of his routine. When the pain struck that morning, it was unlike anything Arthur had experienced. Confusion washed over him, quickly giving way to fear. Was it something he ate? Had he overdone it in the garden? As the ache in his leg sharpened and the swelling became impossible to ignore, anxiety took hold. For the first time in years, Arthur felt truly vulnerable, frightened by the sudden betrayal of his own body and uncertain about what lay ahead. This was the moment Arthur's world shifted, a stark reminder that even the steadiest routines can hide unseen dangers. And, as we'll see, it was also the beginning of an unexpected journey toward better health and newfound hope. While Arthur's morning routine seemed harmless, there was an invisible danger lurking beneath the surface, a danger that affects thousands of people every year. But what exactly is a blood clot, and how does it form? Inside our bodies, blood flows through a vast network of veins and arteries, delivering oxygen and nutrients to every cell. Normally, this system works seamlessly, but sometimes, blood can thicken and clump together, forming a clot, a process known scientifically as thrombosis. This can happen for a variety of reasons. When we sit still for long periods, such as during long car journeys or after surgery, blood flow in the legs slows down. This sluggish movement can trigger clot formation, especially in older adults whose veins may already be weaker. Medical conditions like obesity, cancer, and inherited blood disorders can also increase the risk. Diet plays a crucial role too. Foods high in saturated fats and salt, like processed meats, can damage the lining of blood vessels, making it easier for clots to develop. Research shows that people over 60 are particularly vulnerable, with studies estimating that nearly 1 in every 1,000 adults in the UK will experience a deep vein thrombosis, or DVT, each year. Real-world cases highlight the seriousness of this threat. In 2019, NHS hospitals treated over 30,000 patients for blood clots in the legs or lungs. Many, like Arthur, had no idea they were at risk until symptoms struck. The consequences can be severe. If a clot breaks loose and travels to the lungs, it can cause a life-threatening blockage called a pulmonary embolism. Understanding how blood clots form, and recognizing the everyday factors that contribute to their risk, is the first step in protecting ourselves and our loved ones. For Arthur, the science behind his diagnosis was a wake-up call, shining a light on the hidden dangers of familiar habits. But what exactly are processed meats, and why are they singled out as a risk factor for blood clots? Processed meats include more than just sausages. Think of bacon, ham, salami, corned beef, hot dogs, and even certain deli slices. These foods are all made by curing, smoking, salting, or adding chemical preservatives to fresh meat, a process designed to enhance flavor, extend shelf life, and create convenience. Take a closer look at the ingredients list, and you'll often find substances like sodium, nitrite, phosphates, and high levels of salt. These additives help preserve the meat's color and texture, but they also bring hidden dangers. According to Dr. Emily Carter, a consultant nutritionist at King's College London, regular consumption of processed meats has been linked not only to heart disease and cancer, but also to a higher risk of blood clots, especially in older adults. The combination of saturated fat, salt, and chemical preservatives can damage blood vessels over time, making it easier for clots to form. A 2022 study published by the British Heart Foundation found that adults who ate processed meats daily had up to a 20% greater risk of developing cardiovascular problems compared to those who rarely consumed them. Experts warn that even seemingly small portions like a couple of rashers of bacon or a slice of ham with lunch can add up over the weeks and months. So, when you reach for the familiar breakfast sausage or a quick ham sandwich, it's worth remembering. What's convenient today could have lasting effects on your health tomorrow. Understanding exactly what's in processed meats and how they impact our bodies is key to making better choices, especially as we age. But what makes processed meats particularly risky for older adults? Recent research has shed more light on the connection between these foods and blood clots. According to a 2023 review published in The Lancet, the combination of saturated fats, preservatives, and excess sodium in processed meats can lead to chronic inflammation and stiffening of the arteries. This, in turn, increases the likelihood of clot formation. Dr. Priya Nair, a vascular medicine specialist at University College, London, Hospitals, explains. As we age, our blood vessels naturally become less elastic. Diets high in processed meats compound this effect, raising blood pressure and making blood more prone to clotting. Seniors are especially vulnerable, because their bodies are less able to repair the damage caused by these foods. Another study from the European Society of Cardiology found that older adults who regularly ate processed meats had higher levels of C-reactive protein, a marker for inflammation and cardiovascular stress. Chronic exposure to the chemicals in processed meats can trigger a cascade of harmful changes in the blood, notes Dr. Nair. This isn't just about cholesterol or fat content, but about how these foods interact with our bodies over time. For seniors, these findings are especially relevant. As the body's natural defenses weaken with age, even moderate consumption of processed meats can tip the balance towards increased clot risk and other health complications. Understanding these scientific insights can help us make more informed choices at every meal. While diet plays a crucial role in the development of blood clots, it's far from the only factor at play. Genetics, lifestyle, and pre-existing medical conditions can all dramatically increase a person's risk, sometimes silently, without any obvious warning signs. Let's start with genetics. Studies from the British Heart Foundation reveal that up to 8% of people in the UK may carry inherited clotting disorders, such as factor V Leiden or prothrombin gene mutations. These genetic traits can make blood more likely to clot, even in otherwise healthy individuals. If you have a family history of blood clots or related conditions, your risk could be significantly higher. Lifestyle choices also matter. Prolonged inactivity, such as sitting for long periods during travel or at a desk, reduces blood flow in the legs, creating the perfect conditions for clot formation. According to NHS data, adults who are physically inactive are twice as likely to develop deep vein thrombosis as those who exercise regularly. Smoking compounds this risk even further, damaging blood vessels and increasing clotting potential. Pre-existing health conditions are another major contributor. People with heart disease, diabetes, obesity, or cancer face a much greater risk of developing blood clots. For instance, a report from the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, NICE, found that individuals with obesity are nearly 3 times more likely to experience venous thromboembolism than those at a healthy weight. Chronic illnesses can disrupt the body's natural balance, making it harder to keep blood flowing smoothly. Medications such as hormone replacement therapy and certain cancer treatments can also tip the scales. The risk is especially high when these factors combine, like an older adult with a genetic predisposition who is also inactive and managing chronic illness. Understanding these risk factors is essential. While we can't change our genetics, we can make informed choices about our lifestyle, stay vigilant for warning signs, and work with our healthcare providers to manage existing conditions. By looking at the bigger picture, we give ourselves the best chance of staying healthy, no matter what our genes or routines may hold. While Arthur's painful, swollen leg was an unmistakable red flag, the warning signs of blood clots aren't always so obvious. Sometimes your body whispers its distress long before it shouts. The most common symptoms include swelling, tenderness, and a feeling of warmth in the affected limb, usually the calf or thigh. The skin may appear reddish or slightly blue, and the pain often worsens when standing or walking. But there are other, less well-known signs that can be easy to overlook. Some people experience a persistent cramping sensation or an unexplained heaviness in the leg. Others notice the skin feels unusually tight, or that their veins seem more visible than usual. In rarer cases, a clot can form in the arm, causing similar symptoms: pain, swelling, and discoloration. If a clot travels to the lungs, it can trigger a sudden shortness of breath, sharp chest pain that gets worse with deep breaths, or a rapid heartbeat. Some may even cough up blood. These are signs of a pulmonary embolism, a medical emergency that demands immediate attention. Even if your symptoms are mild or ambiguous, it's always safer to err on the side of caution. Contact your GP or call NHS 111 if you notice unexplained swelling, pain, or changes in skin color, especially if you have risk factors like recent travel, surgery, or a family history of clots. If you experience severe chest pain, breathlessness, or coughing up blood, call 9999 straight away. Trust your instincts. Your body often gives you clues when something isn't right. By recognizing these warning signs early, you can seek help before a minor issue becomes a major crisis. It's not just about knowing the risks, it's about acting on them when it matters most. Taking charge of your health doesn't have to mean sweeping changes overnight. In fact, it's often the small, everyday choices that make the biggest difference when it comes to reducing your risk of blood clots. Let's explore some practical steps you can start right now. First, get moving. Regular physical activity is key. Aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate exercise most days of the week. This could be as simple as a brisk walk around your local park, gentle cycling, or even a daily stretching routine at home. If you spend long hours sitting, try to stand up and move about every hour. Flex your ankles, wiggle your toes, and take a few steps to keep your blood flowing. Next, look at your plate. Swap processed meats, like sausages and bacon, for lean proteins. Think grilled chicken, fish, beans, or lentils. Fill half your plate with colorful vegetables and whole grains such as brown rice or wholemeal bread. Reducing salt and saturated fats can also help keep your blood vessels healthy. Staying hydrated is another simple yet powerful habit. Aim for 6 to 8 glasses of water a day and limit sugary drinks and alcohol. If you smoke, consider seeking support to quit. Smoking damages blood vessels and increases clot risk. Finally, make it a habit to check in with your body. Notice any swelling, pain, or changes in your legs or arms. Don't ignore it. And keep up with regular GP checkups, especially if you have other risk factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, or a family history of clots. These small steps, repeated daily, can add up to powerful protection for your heart and circulation. Remember, it's not about perfection, but progress, one healthy choice at a time. It's easy to imagine that healthy eating means sacrificing flavor or comfort, but for many seniors like Arthur, making the switch from processed meats has opened up a world of delicious possibilities. Let's hear from some who've made the change and never looked back. Margaret, age 78, shares her go-to breakfast. I used to love a bacon buddy, but now I start my day with smashed avocado on wholemeal toast, topped with a poached egg and a sprinkle of chili flakes. It's just as satisfying, and I feel lighter and more energized. For lunch, John, aged 81, recommends his Mediterranean chickpea salad. Chickpeas, cherry tomatoes, cucumber, olives, and a bit of feta, tossed with olive oil and lemon juice. It's quick, filling, and I don't miss ham sandwiches at all. Dinner can be just as comforting, as Elaine, age 75, proves. I was a sausage and mash devotee for years, but now I make lentil and mushroom bangers. I season them with smoked paprika and herbs, bake until golden, and serve with sweet potato mash and steamed greens. My grandchildren ask for seconds every time. If you're after a little indulgence, try grilled salmon, or trout, marinated in lemon and dill, served alongside roasted vegetables and quinoa. Or, for a plant-based twist, stuff red peppers with a mix of brown rice, black beans, corn, and spices, then bake until bubbling and golden. These aren't just healthier options, they're meals brimming with color, flavor, and satisfaction. As these seniors will tell you, the transition is easier, and tastier, than you might think. Why not try one of these swaps this week? Your heart and your taste buds just might thank you. You've just heard how Margaret, John, and Elaine transformed their meals and their well-being by making simple swaps. But they're not alone. Across the country, countless seniors are proving that it's never too late to start caring for your heart. Meet Peter, age 76, who swapped his lunchtime pork pies for homemade vegetable soup. At first I missed the convenience, he admits, but now I look forward to chopping fresh veg and experimenting with herbs. My energy's up and my blood pressure's down. Then there's Sheila, who turned her Sunday fry-up into a family tradition of grilled tomatoes, mushrooms, and whole-grain pancakes. We still gather round the table, but now we all feel better afterwards. Even the grandchildren ask for seconds. These stories show that small, consistent changes can add up to a huge difference, and you can start today. Try one new heart-healthy recipe this week. Perhaps a vibrant bean stew or a simple grilled fish. Swap processed meats for lean proteins like chicken, beans, or lentils. Add an extra portion of veg to your plate at each meal. Get inspired by friends or loved ones. Share your favorite healthy dish and encourage each other along the way. Remember, it's not about perfection. Every positive choice, no matter how small, brings you one step closer to a healthier heart and a happier you. Why not take that first step today? Your story could be the next inspiration for someone else. For 72-year-old Arthur, Tuesday mornings always began the same way. The kitchen was bathed in gentle sunlight, the air filled with the comforting aroma of sizzling sausages and freshly toasted bread. It was a ritual he'd cherished for years, a small pleasure that made him feel grounded and content. As he settled into his favorite chair, the world outside seemed calm and predictable, But as Arthur unfolded his morning paper, a dull, unfamiliar ache began to pulse in his left leg. At first, he tried to ignore it, thinking it was just a cramp or perhaps a sign of aging. Yet, the discomfort grew sharper, making it hard to focus on the headlines. Within minutes, the pain intensified. His calf began to swell, the skin turning an angry shade of red. Arthur's concern deepened as he realized this was no ordinary ache. Something was seriously wrong. He tried to stand and walk it off, hoping movement would help. But each step sent a jolt of pain through his leg, forcing him to sit back down, beads of sweat forming on his brow. Just then, his daughter Sarah stopped by for a visit. She immediately noticed her father's distress, the way he winced, the unnatural color of his leg. Without hesitation, she grabbed her phone and dialed emergency services, her voice trembling with worry. At the hospital, a flurry of doctors and nurses surrounded Arthur. After a series of urgent tests, the diagnosis was clear. Deep vein thrombosis, or DVT, a dangerous blood clot blocking the flow of blood in his leg. The news was both shocking and frightening. Arthur was stunned. He'd always considered himself relatively healthy for his age. He walked daily, kept up with friends, and rarely missed a checkup. How could this happen to him? The cardiac surgeon sat down with Arthur, gently probing about his lifestyle and daily habits. The conversation soon turned to his breakfast, those beloved sausages and toast he'd eaten for decades. The doctor explained that while Arthur's routine seemed harmless, diets high in processed meats and saturated fats can increase the risk of blood clots, especially as we age. It was a risk factor Arthur had never considered. Sitting in his hospital bed, Arthur reflected on his breakfast ritual. What he thought was a harmless comfort had quietly been putting his health in jeopardy, day after day. This was more than just a health scare, it was a wake-up call. Arthur realized he needed to make changes, not just for himself, but for his family who cared so deeply for him. It's easy to overlook the hidden dangers in our daily routines, the foods we eat, the habits we form. They can quietly shape our future, for better or worse. Arthur's story is a powerful reminder that what we put on our plates each morning matters more than we realize. Small choices, repeated over time, can have a big impact on our health. For Arthur, this frightening episode marked the start of a new chapter, one filled with healthier habits, renewed hope, and a deeper appreciation for the simple choices that shape our lives. So, what is a blood clot? It's a question that might sound simple, but the answer is surprisingly complex and incredibly important for your health. Blood clots are a natural part of your body's defense system, but they can also become a hidden threat if they form in the wrong place or at the wrong time. Imagine your blood as a river, flowing smoothly through your body, delivering oxygen and nutrients to every organ and tissue. This constant flow is what keeps you alive and healthy. When you're injured, say you cut your finger or scrape your knee, your body jumps into action. It forms a clot at the site of the injury to stop the bleeding. This process is essential, acting like a natural bandage that prevents you from losing too much blood. In these moments, blood clots are lifesavers, helping wounds heal and protecting you from infection. But sometimes, clots form inside veins or arteries even when there's no injury at all. When this happens, the clot can block the normal flow of blood, creating a dangerous situation. It's like a dam suddenly appearing in the middle of a river, causing water to back up and overflow. This is dangerous, like a dam in the river, cutting off oxygen to vital organs. When blood can't reach your heart, brain, or lungs, those organs can't function properly, and the results can be life-threatening. There are two main threats when it comes to blood clots. The first is a thrombus, which is a clot that stays put, forming in one spot and blocking blood flow right there. Thrombi often develop in the deep veins of the legs, a condition known as deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. The second threat is an embolus. This is when a clot, or a piece of it, breaks off and travels through your bloodstream. It can move from your leg to your lungs, brain, or heart, causing sudden and severe problems wherever it lands. Arthur had a thrombus, a DVT, in his leg. He didn't know it at first, because these clots can form silently, without obvious symptoms. Sometimes, the only sign is a little swelling or discomfort, which is easy to ignore. If a clot like Arthur's travels to the lungs, it causes a pulmonary embolism. This is a life-threatening emergency that can make it suddenly hard to breathe, cause chest pain, or even lead to collapse. If a clot reaches the brain, it can block blood flow and cause a stroke, leading to permanent damage or even death in a matter of minutes. If it blocks a vessel in the heart, it can trigger a heart attack, cutting off the heart's oxygen supply and putting your life at risk. The scary part is that these clots often form silently, without warning signs. You might feel fine one moment and face a medical emergency the next. That's why understanding blood clots and knowing how to prevent them is so important. Simple steps, like staying active, drinking enough water, and knowing your personal risk factors can make a big difference. Even a small clot in your leg can have devastating consequences if it's not caught early. Swelling, pain, or redness in your leg shouldn't be ignored. These could be warning signs of a DVT. Blood clots are not just a medical issue, they're a hidden danger that can affect anyone, at any time, even during everyday activities like walking, shopping, or relaxing at home. Knowing the risks and recognizing the signs is the first step to protecting yourself and your loved ones. Talk to your doctor if you have concerns, especially if you have risk factors like age, family history, or certain medical conditions. Arthur's experience shows how quickly things can change. One day he was fine, the next he was facing a serious health crisis. It's a reminder that we all need to stay informed and vigilant. Let's look at what put him at risk and how you can take steps to protect yourself from the hidden danger of blood clots. The cardiac surgeon zeroed in on Arthur's daily breakfast, processed meats, a staple he'd enjoyed for years without a second thought. Each morning, his plate was filled with familiar favorites, but beneath the surface, these foods were quietly impacting his health. Sausages, bacon, ham, salami, hot dogs. These are all processed meats, preserved with salt, chemicals, and additives to enhance flavor and extend shelf life. They're convenient, tasty, and found in kitchens around the world. But unlike fresh cuts of meat, processed meats are loaded with sodium, nitrates, and other preservatives. These ingredients are added to keep the meat looking fresh and to prevent spoilage, but they come with a hidden cost to your health. High salt content makes your body retain water, which raises blood pressure and puts extra strain on your arteries. Over time, this can lead to chronic hypertension, a major risk factor for heart attacks and strokes. Nitrates and nitrites, used for curing and preserving, can transform into harmful compounds inside your body. These chemicals trigger inflammation and can damage the delicate lining of your blood vessels, making them less flexible and more prone to injury. This ongoing damage creates rough spots inside your arteries, perfect places for dangerous clots to form and block blood flow. Over time, a diet high in processed meat sets the stage for heart disease, blood clots, and even increases the risk of certain cancers. The more often these foods appear on your plate, the greater the danger. That tasty bacon sandwich, it's a perfect storm for your cardiovascular system. Delicious in the moment but potentially harmful in the long run. For Arthur, this daily habit was a hidden threat, quietly undermining his health with every bite. He never imagined that something so ordinary could have such serious consequences. And he's not alone. Many people face the same risk, unaware of the dangers lurking in their favorite foods. Recognizing these hidden hazards is the first step toward making healthier choices and protecting your heart for years to come. Processed meats are risky for everyone, but especially for seniors. As we age, our blood vessels stiffen, a normal process called arteriosclerosis. Add high salt and nitrates, and you speed up vessel damage. Many seniors already have high blood pressure, diabetes, or high cholesterol, making things worse. Reduced mobility is common with age, slowing blood flow and increasing clot risk. A pro-clotting diet plus slow circulation is a dangerous combination. The body's ability to break down clots also weakens with age. Once a clot forms, it's more likely to grow and cause harm. For seniors, prevention is critical. Avoiding processed meats isn't just healthy, it's essential for protecting your heart and blood vessels. Arthur's story is a warning for anyone over 60. Small changes can make a big difference. Several factors raise your risk for blood clots. Age is a big one. Over 60 means higher risk. Family history or previous clots make you more vulnerable. Being overweight, inactive, or a smoker increases your risk. Medical conditions like cancer, heart failure, or recent surgery also play a role. Some people have inherited clotting disorders. Knowing your risk factors helps you and your doctor take action. Arthur's story shows how important it is to be proactive. Your body sends warning signs when a clot forms. Don't ignore them. For DVT, look for swelling, warmth, redness, and pain in one leg. The pain often feels like a cramp that won't go away. If you notice these symptoms, seek medical help immediately. A pulmonary embolism is even more urgent. Sudden shortness of breath, chest pain, rapid heartbeat, or coughing up blood. These are medical emergencies. Call for help right away. Acting fast can save your life. Knowing the signs isn't about fear. It's about being prepared. Arthur's quick response made all the difference. Stay alert, and you can protect yourself and your loved ones. The good news? You can lower your clot risk with simple changes. Move more, walk, swim, or do gentle exercises to keep blood flowing. If you sit for long periods, get up and stretch every hour. Even small leg movements help. Stay hydrated. Thick blood clots more easily. Keep a water bottle handy and sip throughout the day. Manage your weight. Losing even a little helps your veins. Wear loose, comfortable clothes. Avoid tight socks or waistbands. Compression stockings may help if your doctor recommends them. Every small step adds up. Arthur's recovery started with these basics. You can do it too. Ready to swap out processed meats? There are plenty of tasty, heart-healthy options. Try eggs, porridge with berries, or Greek yogurt for breakfast. For lunch, use leftover roast chicken, turkey, or tuna with Greek yogurt instead of deli meats. Add more plants. Salads with beans, chickpeas, or grilled fish are filling and nutritious. For dinner, choose lean proteins like fish, skinless poultry, beans, or tofu. Pair with whole grains and lots of vegetables. Use herbs and spices. Garlic, ginger, turmeric, and rosemary add flavor and health benefits. Reducing salt doesn't mean sacrificing taste. Fresh, whole foods protect your heart and boost your energy. Arthur discovered new favorites, and so can you. Change can be hard, but it's also empowering. Arthur's wake-up call led to small, lasting changes. Omelets for breakfast, longer walks, and a new outlook. Start with one swap, a chicken salad instead of processed meat, or a daily 10-minute walk. Celebrate every small victory. Involve your family and friends. They can support and join you. Stay connected with your doctor. Ask questions and seek advice. Your health is a team effort, and you're the MVP. Be kind to yourself. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Every healthy choice is an investment in your future. Your journey starts with a single step. Take it to